Okay. That's the wrong one. Alright. Is it working now? Where the hell is it? Struggling, guys. Is it working? Good. I have to tweet the new link out again. I apologize. Shouldn't take me as long this time. Still not showing up on here for some reason. Alright, let me get into the live chat. Back with sound, thank God. Alright. Okay, so I figured before I get into any of the comments, which apparently I'm still having skipped frame issues. Crying out loud. I don't know why. It's driving me insane. Okay. Anyway. I wanted to address a couple things before I get into the comments. I've been having kind of a rough week. First of all, there's been, I won't get into much detail, but my wife and I work for the same company, and there's talk about, at this company, the federal government's like retaking over what we do and moving it to DC. So I don't know how stable my job is right now. And like that's a lot of income for both of us. In fact, that's our sole source of income. So that's a little nerve-wracking. Then, in light of that, I was having a rough day yesterday also because I'm trying to get projects off the ground. I have my YouTube channel, which is right down in this corner over here. I'll get it eventually. I'm trying to get that off the ground, so it'd be nice if I could just do the live streams on there and not have to worry about doing them on Riff's channel. But it's tough. It's a tough road to hoe on to do that. So I've been trying to build that up on Twitter. I just started a new series. I'm playing WrestleMania 2000. I'm playing through the game mode, through the Road to WrestleMania story mode, just to see how that does. I'm trying to bring back my sarcastic commentary series, which is essentially just making fun of backyard wrestling. It's myself and a couple of my friends. We do that. It's a lot of fun. I tried to get a sports show started, trying to get that recorded today with Jeff, but he was busy today. Our schedules didn't mesh. And I didn't get home till after I said we were going to record, so it didn't work out. But also in that same vein, last night, my mom called me and let me know that my grandfather, who's in his mid-90s, was diagnosed with a form of cancer. So, rough few days in the Cherry household. I'm hoping like this picks up a little bit, obviously, throughout the day. Um, I like doing these live streams with you guys. I like doing that. I like whenever the wheel gets spun and I get to do that fun for you. Um, but it's rough. It's rough. Gotta be real with you guys. You guys have been glorious. No, I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend. I will defend. Appreciate it. Rated hell. For the subscription on the channel. Appreciate that. That actually does mean a lot. And that's what happens when you go subscribe to the channel while I'm doing one of these live streams. I get the notifications. You get a similar kind of notification when you send a Streamlabs. I actually should put that. Yeah, I don't have time to mess with it now. I guess I could, but I don't think it'd make a difference. So I appreciate that, Rated Hell. Appreciate it. Thanks for the subscription. Hope you enjoy the videos on there. Now we can get to your comments. Doing the half price spins thing again today up here. You can see the rule. I might just make them $10 permanently because the $20 ones, I did get a few of those, but I understand. Like, it's not a great. Not everybody has the money to drop every stream. I get it. Not a problem. All right, let's get into the live chat. Keith Johnson asking my thoughts on Bray Wyatt. I'm interested. I'm interested to see how it does. I can't bury the gimmick after 1 week because we don't know. He hasn't been in the ring with the gimmick. But there's vibes of it still being creepy. I just hope it doesn't end up being House of Horrors bad, because House of Horrors was abysmal. But I'm willing to give it a chance. Yeah, you have to give every gimmick a chance before you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. It's like you've seen 2-3 minutes of it. Imagine if we did that with every gimmick. Imagine if we would have done that. I mean, I'm trying to think. Imagine if we did that with like the Undertaker. It'd be like, oh man, that's mean Mark Callis. It's like this gimmick is stupid. Nearly 30 years later, it's passed the test of time. So you can't immediately bury a gimmick when you don't know where it's going. It could be the best thing to happen to Bray Wyatt and bring him back to relevance. Because I know he was WWE champion, but you can't. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. You can't just completely crap on a gimmick because it's not what you expect. We really can't expect anything. You know what I mean? SCW, the wrestling channel, from PA to the Canary Islands. What's up, Mr. Greg Cherry? I'll explain that in the top of this second live stream because not only was my webcam not working, but then the sound wasn't working, which now it is, thankfully. So, yeah. Glad it's working. Hoping it can stay working. Chris Cahill, I have this feeling in a month or so, Bray will turn back to the dark side, knowing WWE writing. I mean, he may do something completely different next week. I mean, the Firefly Funhouse might have just been a 1 week thing, and they does something completely different. Maybe he just jumps around all sorts of TV genres. You don't know. Maybe he'll be like a CSI investigator next, and then the week after that, like a game show host. I don't know where they're going with this. I really don't. But it'll be interesting to see come Monday's Raw. Melvin Jackson, much love, man. It's going to be okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Keith Johnson, Bobby Roode equals fake Rick Rude. Repush at the expense of Ricochet. Sorry to hear about the job situation. Hope things work out for you. Well, I still have a job for the time being, so I'm blessed with that. Appreciate that. As far as Bobby Roode, is he a fake Rick Rude just because he kind of looks like him? And because they have the same sounding last name, I don't think so. But if it helps Bobby Roode move further on the roster, who are we to complain? And it's 1 week, so Ricochet is not buried. Let's not start that crap again. Everybody's buried because they don't lose. Listen, everybody on the roster can't be WWE champion. Everybody on the roster can't be Universal champion. There's got to be utility guys everywhere else. And I have to realize that too. It's like, man, this guy should be pushed into this title picture, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you can't have a title picture with everybody in it unless you're just going to do battle royals every week, which I'd be okay with. I love battle royals. Um, but you can't do that every week. Otherwise, it'd be like, oh, geez, here's another battle royal. It's the 61st one this month. Can't do that. Let's see. Uh, Domestic Butler, so sorry to hear about all that bad news. I appreciate that. And Chris Butler says, I'm here for you, man. Um, yeah, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys like subscribing to the channel too. I appreciate you guys even watching the streams to begin with. I know I haven't had many spins with the wheel, which is a gimmick I would hope would help with the streams and give something different. Because I know the wrestling discussion's a good thing. Um, yeah, it's fun too, but I would like to do more stuff. That's why I'm branching out with the stuff on my channel. That's why I'm doing I wanted to do the sports show with Jeff. It just didn't happen this week. Um, I know on my channel I'm going to do this coming football season. I will probably be streaming live during the football games. Notre Dame for college football, Pittsburgh Steelers for um, the NFL, because I love football and it'd be fun for me. Mr. Anderson, Bray Wyatt's the new Mr. Rogers. Yeah, for the time being, yes. But like I said, they could go a completely different direction next week. We don't know. It's only the week one. If he continues to do the Firefly Funhouse, then we'll know that that's his gimmick. Um, but we don't know. They could do something completely different. Uh, Mike D says, "What's up, Greg? Not a whole lot. Um, just trying to make a fun stream for you guys. That's all I'm trying to do." Mr. Anderson, they might make the Funhouse go live on Raw. The Buzzard and the Witch interact with other WWE superstars. That could be interesting. Chris Cahill, think they're pushing AJ versus Seth too soon. Yeah, I'm surprised they're going with it this soon, but they might have plans for later in the year for like SummerSlam time frame, which I figured they'd save it for, but they're doing it now, which is strange unless they're planning on turning one of them. It doesn't make much sense. Keith Johnson, didn't take Kevin Owens long to turn heel. Love Kofi as champion, but he needs more character development. I kind of wished, and I talked about this on Cheer versus Neri, I kind of wish they would have stuck with the babyface Kevin Owens, just have the thing in Montreal be a 1 week thing. I knew as soon as he kept doing it, it's like he's going to turn. Because there's no way they're going to make that him be a consistent babyface. Domestic Butler, I meant AJ heel turn soon. I meant love to see a stable with him. Well, the club is on SmackDown, but the Superstar Shakeup is apparently a month-long thing. I don't know. Mike D is asking if I'm a Yankees fan. I am. I have a hat somewhere. My dad got me a jersey for Christmas, Aaron Judge jersey. So haven't got the chance to wear it yet. Haven't been able to sit down and watch any baseball this season so far. Domestic Butler, can't you do a consistent time of day so people know you're on? I'm starting to. Like, the Sundays at 3 is going to be my consistent time. So, yeah, I know I jumped around a lot, but that was because of holidays and WrestleMania and all of that stuff. And when I was starting it. So, Sundays at 3 is looking like it's going to be my consistent time. Because Jeff is going to do Talk Wrestling on his channel on Fridays, because he wanted to do it on the No DQ channel, but apparently it was too much of a headache for him to set up the Streamlabs, which it is a little bit. I mean, you saw my issues earlier. I just like doing this because I don't have the channel following that he does, so I appreciate Aaron letting me doing this on his channel. Curtis Butler, similar loves, Yankees, but Florida State and the Raiders is where we differ. Yeah, that's interesting though. You're opposite sides of the country with the Florida State and Oakland / Las Vegas. Um, yeah, I've always been a Notre Dame fan. All my sports fandoms, except for the Penguins, come from my dad. My dad's not really big into hockey. He'll watch it if it's on, but um, yeah. So it's Notre Dame, as you can see in the background, right behind me. Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously, Pittsburgh Penguins, and New York Yankees. I haven't been following baseball as much lately, um, just because I don't have the time, really. There's no time I can just sit around and watch it. Unless there's games on at like Friday afternoon, which I don't know if there are. Those are normally evening games. But if there's some on Friday afternoon when I don't have to work, I'd love to sit down and watch a Yankees game. Let's see. Mike D, now that Cesaro and Sheamus have broken up, do you think they'll finally give Cesaro that singles push he deserves? I'm kind of hoping. I don't know why Cesaro kept Sheamus's theme. It makes no sense to me because Cesaro has his own theme. Is Sheamus being repackaged? Because he wasn't on SmackDown, I don't believe. I'm not sure. Mr. Anderson, which babyface wrestler in WWE needs to turn heel next? If she comes back, Sasha. Which I hope Sasha comes back. I really, I really hope that Sasha does come back. And she'll be booed anyway when she comes back, especially with all those Smart Mark fans being like, oh, she whines so much and she complains so much. It's like, I don't know why it's different for everybody else. Like when Rusev complained, everybody's like, yeah, Rusev should get a push. When anybody else is booked poorly, it's like, yeah, they should get a push. Sasha complains and everybody jumps her shit. Pardon my French, but it's ridiculous. Sasha's put on more memorable matches than anybody I listed, which I guess was only a couple people. Honestly, I don't get it. I'm still going to be a Sasha fan if she decides to come back. If she decides to leave and go somewhere else, I'll still be a Sasha fan, or Mercedes KV or whatever she calls herself. Regardless, I'll be a fan. Uh, who would you rather turn heel, AJ or Seth? Honestly, I don't know if you want to turn Seth yet, just because everybody had a chance to burn it down thing. And if you turn him heel, you'll have to take away the whole burn it down part of his entrance. Um, I don't think it's necessary to turn AJ yet. I don't know where they're going with this, unless they have somebody interfere and save the match for a later time. I'm not sure. Going back to Domestic Butler, what shocks would you say might happen for Double or Nothing? I don't know what big names they haven't announced yet. I mean, they just announced Dean Malenko for StarCast over the weekend. Um, they've already announced Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Or Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. I guess I can't use the Cody Rhodes name. Whatever. Um, I don't know. Jericho Omega 2 is happening. You figure they've already made a lot of the major announcements. They might have like one swerve that they're keeping from everybody, and people are assuming it's CM Punk. Stop with that. It's not going to be Punk. Um, I don't know. I don't know what they could. I don't know what they could do to provide more hype around it. There's already a lot of hype surrounding the show that doesn't need like a surprise person coming in at the end. Just thoughts. WWE Network pricing may be increasing. Thoughts? If it does, I'll probably go the top tier package, which will probably be like $15 a month, which is fine, um, because I'll provide like access to other stuff. So whenever my wife's not home, I can just watch all the wrestling I want. It doesn't necessarily have to be WWE. It helps. Fridays when I'm off, I can just do it whenever I want. Okay, she works Fridays, and I don't have to. So that's pretty cool. Keith Johnson, stupid ass, Greg, but could WWE get away with a black militant faction in today's era? Probably not. I mean, there's. I don't even want to get into like any like racially motivated anything because that just seems like it hits nerves any way you look at that. I just it just seems like nine ways to bad. So and not that they're a militant faction, but the New Day are holding their own as like underdogs and like guys you want to root for. So I don't see the need for a militant faction of any kind. GG Vision, what's up? How you doing? Domestic Butler, I'm from England. Do you follow any English sports teams? I don't. I don't follow soccer, football over there. Um, I the sad thing is I watch more English like television shows than English sports, which again isn't many. Um, I'm kind of a game show nerd, so I've enjoyed watching um, the British Deal or No Deal, as well as 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, which is a fantastic show if nobody's ever seen it. Um, but you probably have to if you don't know about 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, you should probably watch the show Countdown first, the regular show, then 8 out of 10 Cats, and then 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown to completely understand everything that's going on. Jimmy Carr hosts the 8 out of 10 Cats shows, so check those out when you have an opportunity. Those are hilarious. GG Vision says they gotta change his theme back. I'm assuming referencing Cesaro. Yeah, they have to change his theme back or give him something different because it's stupid that he has the bars theme. It doesn't make any sense. I know he's still doing the thumb and everything, but let's see here. All right. Mike D, do you think CM Punk goes to AEW? I just touched on that. I touched on that briefly. GG Vision. Sasha has a reason to be feeling like that over the past year and a half. Her story has been garbage. I completely agree. Um, they they really completely screwed up Sasha's story. She had something good with Bailey, and they completely ruined it. I touched on this previously that if they would have gone full bore with the Bailey heel turn, as it were, it could have been something special. But they waited on doing that for so long, and then over a commercial break, immediately killed the heat. You can't do anything when you're like drawn into a corner, and then all of a sudden, like weeks later, they were complete best friends again. It was so poorly written. Sasha's character has been so poorly written over the last year and a half. It's ridiculous. I feel bad for her. She deserves so much better than to be booked into a corner like that. And all of her championship reigns have not lasted very long. Like, what else do you do with one of the best female talent you have? Just give Charlotte 90 more title shots. I understand how good Charlotte is, but at the same time, crying out loud, there's more women on the roster than just Charlotte Flair. Domestic Butler, describe Eric Bischoff in one word. One word. I have to think about that one. Creative. I like Eric Bischoff. I know some people don't, but I do. It's not just because he's a Steelers fan, which I learned after I already liked him. I don't know. I've always been in Bischoff's corner. I've always enjoyed his work. Even when he was just an announcer in the AWA before going to WCW and his heel turn, which sparked his entire character for the NWO. I've always enjoyed Eric Bischoff. He's a fantastic character, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to the wrestling business. I like Eric Bischoff. Chris knows Celtics blew out the Bucks. Wonderful, another Boston team winning. That's what we need. Because the Patriots and the Red Sox weren't enough. How about Boston just wins everything? I'm sure the friggin' Bruins are still in the Stanley Cup playoffs too. Unreal. Chris Cahill. I wouldn't be surprised if at SummerSlam it's a fatal four-way by adding Drew and Corbin to the title match. I hope so. And I hope Corbin wins. I know that'll upset a lot of people. I'm a Corbin guy. I like Baron Corbin. He's a great heel. His triple threat match, excuse me, his triple threat match with Miz and McIntyre, I think was better than the triple threat with AJ Jones Mysterio. Personal opinion. I thought it had more excitement to it. Will an entire federation like ECW ever get into the WWE Hall of Fame, in your opinion? I don't think so. I don't think, because then you just induct the WWE into the WWE Hall of Fame, and it seems like there's no point to doing that. Get some water. Mike D, are you concerned about Daniel Bryan's injury they're keeping secret? They're probably keeping it secret because, well, there's no reason for people to know. And they said it's not a concussion. I mean, it may just be like a back injury or something. But, I don't know, maybe it'd be bad publicity if Daniel Bryan got injured again and couldn't compete. He's done a fantastic job in the last year, working again. And he had a great run as WWE champion. So, I don't know. Hopefully he can come back again. Domestic Butler, do you think it should be long feud with AJ Rollins ending in Hell in a Cell? Feels like forever since we had a long feud that ended in a cell match. You probably won't get it with AJ and Seth. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because Hell in a Cell, I believe, I don't know the pay-per-view schedule anymore. They flop them around so much. I believe Hell in a Cell's always been after SummerSlam at some point. Typically October time frame. So that's probably September, October, around there. That's probably the route they'll go. Is start a feud at SummerSlam or continue a feud through SummerSlam or something of the like. And that's when they'll have the cell match. This guy says they need to finally give him a main event push when it comes to Antonio Cesaro. 42nd Street Matthew. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Bischoff's podcast is great. The NWO is my favorite storyline ever, so he's forever up there for me. Yeah, Bischoff's podcast is great. I've only gotten to listen to a couple episodes, but I enjoy listening to him talk. Chris Cahill. Bruins lost last night in double overtime to Columbus. Series is tied at 1. Wow. Okay, cool. Hey, the Blue Jackets would be a good story. They swept the Tampa Bay Lightning, who was the team expected to win it all. Hey, they're kind of a sentimental favorite because I don't think before their series with Tampa Bay they had ever won a playoff series. So good for them. I hope they do it. Jinder Maharaja says Baron Corbin should change his name back to Thomas Pestock. I don't think he wants to use a short name. Plus, everybody hears Baron Corbin and they just right there. GG Vision, I'm on work break, so I gotta head back shortly. Nice chill for a bit, like usual. If you had the time to check out the rundown episode I sent you, hope you found it entertaining. I haven't had a chance to watch much at all, to be honest. Chris Cahill, I hope the Celtics beat the Bucks and then the Raptors embarrass them in the conference finals. I don't follow the NBA. I'll be honest with you guys. That's the one sport I don't follow. I don't really follow college basketball either, even with March Madness. I just can't. I don't know what it is about basketball. It's weird because I played basketball in school. I did commentary for basketball in college, but I don't watch professional or collegiate basketball on TV. I don't know. I guess it's one of those sports where you have to be there, but watching it on TV is so freaking boring to me. Maybe it's because Pittsburgh doesn't have a professional team. I don't know. I just can't get into it. Um, Mike D, do you think The Rock will wrestle another match, or do you think he's completely done? He might. It all depends on his schedule. The Rock has got to be what, 47, 48 now, around there. I don't see the need for him to come back for another match. Plus, he's killing it in Hollywood, so does he really need to come back? Just give him a Hall of Fame induction and let him go from there. Because let's face it, that Hall of Fame will be awesome. Um, Domestic Butler says, "What's your favorite year in wrestling?" Mine's '98. Um, Favorite year in wrestling? 2002 was a good year. Shawn Michaels came back at SummerSlam and had a fantastic match, and then came back at Survivor Series again and became World Heavyweight Champion. Always good to see your favorites come back. HBK, of course, my all-time favorite. Keith Johnson, Finn Balor and Aleister Black have similar gimmicks. Should have kept them on separate brands. Um, well, it should be interesting if Balor and Aleister Black ever meet for a match. They might be building to that. Give Black an Intercontinental title shot. I don't know. It could be interesting. Jinder says Corbin should change his gimmick. I don't know. They kind of give him the added thing with the announcer announcing him as the town's favorite son. Go with it. People like to hate Corbin. So what's wrong with the gimmick? I think he should change his outfit, but at this point, who really cares? 42nd Street Matthew, or you gotta check out Impact Rebellion tonight. Great card. I'm very much looking forward to it. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, is that on pay per view or is that on just like what? I don't even know what channel they're on anymore. They've switched networks so much. Um, Mr. Anderson, are Asuka and Kairi Sane the next two to beat the Iconics for the women's tag team titles? I don't see the need to switch the women's tag team titles yet again anytime soon. Of course, I didn't think Sasha and Bayley should have lost them at Mania either. And then that happened. Their booking decisions are strange. I'll never understand them. Mike D, what in the world is WWE doing with Braun? Your guess is as good as mine. I said he should have went to SmackDown, but they kept him on Raw for whatever reason. They completely screwed up Braun shortly after SummerSlam last year. Turning him heel completely ruined him in my book. Keith Johnson, is Aleister Black the new Undertaker? We don't need characters being a new such and such. We need them to be their first selves. A lot of people said JBL was the modern day $1 Million Man, but JBL's character was different than Ted DiBiase's. So let him be the first JBL and not the next $1 Million Man. It's a pay-per-view. I'm probably not going to pay money to see it. All right. So I haven't plugged much of my stuff lately. We're half an hour into this live stream because I couldn't get it started for the first half hour. Um, so I do want to plug. The half price spins. Obviously, $10 super chat. Um, You can get a spin on the wheel Penson. I want to give away a shirt on the streams. I want to. I want it to happen. Haven't been able to do it yet. But I'm looking forward to doing it. The normal $20 cost for a stream spin will actually get you 2 spins. So you can actually win 2 shirts for $20. Hell of a deal. I actually lose money on the deal. But I want to get some of my shirts sold. So either get them with a spin or go to prowrestlingtees.com/PASensation to get them. I'm trying to figure out something I want to do differently with these streams, because I know I do the wrestling discussion. I know I do this discussion. I know my dog's whining because I locked him out of the room. Because he makes a lot of noise. He's going to jump on me. Maybe I'll bring the dog in. Why not? Bingers. What? What? Oh. What? You just wanted your treat? You just wanted your treat, Bingers. Wagging your tail. Dog's eating the treat. I've been caught. Oh, hi. Oh, jeez, oh man. Hi. Hi, baby. Okay. Oh. Okay, I know. You're excited to see me. You're excited to see me. You're excited to see me. Okay, hey. Hey, go get mommy. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Where's the kitty? Where's the kitty? Okay. Wound the dog up. All right. Okay. Jinder says, I think Baron Corbin should have broken persona. I don't think the broken gimmick's going to happen at all on TV. Chris Cahill. My guess with Braun, they kept him on Raw because they moved Samoa Joe to feud for the U.S. title. Yeah, I believe that that can happen, but is there really any saving Braun? I'd have Joe go over him. There's no point in giving the U.S. title to Braun. He hasn't done anything to deserve it. Yeah, he won the Battle Royal. Big deal. Who cares? The Battle Royal hasn't meant anything since Cesaro won it. In my opinion. As soon as Mojo won the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, it became useless to me. There was no point in it. I thought the last good winner was Baron Corbin. Honestly. Chris says, I think WWE wants to keep Braun and Lars on separate shows. Probably so they can meet either at Survivor Series in the Raw vs. SmackDown match or in the Rumble. So they can have like their big thing there. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel join Randy Orton to recreate the legacy on SmackDown. Don't need to do that. Not necessary. Plus, I don't think anybody would take Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel seriously, even though they were tag team champions last year. Mr. Anderson, do you think WWE could pull off a Nexus group in today's NXT? And if so, who would you put in the group? I don't think they pulled off the Nexus group when they first did it. They did for like a few weeks, and then Cena buried them. You notice after SummerSlam, they weren't that big of a deal anymore. In 2010, nobody cared. They were dead less than a year later. It was typical WWE booking back then. It's like Cena always has to look strong. It's like Cena can look strong in defeat. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to have Cena overcome the odds yet again, and it killed the Nexus. Because it's like, oh, wow, they were pretty easily defeated, weren't they? And then some of them went off to obscurity. David Otunga never recovered. Heath Slater is still around. Justin Gabriel wasn't anything after the core and the Nexus ended. Wade Barrett's not there anymore either. Ryback had to change his gimmick completely to become Ryback. Michael Tarver, surprised if anybody remembers him. Um, Darren Young had little to moderate success outside of that. And Daniel Bryan was kicked out after the first day, so does he really even count? I don't know. I skipped over Domestic Butler's favorite Royal Rumble winner apart from Ric Flair. Clearly Alberto Del Rio. No. Shawn Michaels. Shawn winning in 95 and then in 96. I always love HBK. Granted, the 95 Rumble was one of the worst ever. Entrants entering every minute, and half the roster in that Rumble, some people would be like, who the hell is that? And between that one and 97, and in some cases 96, there was a lot of who the hell is that when it came to the Rumble. See, it would work in today's WWE, bringing in like international stars or something, or like people who were known elsewhere because of all the exposure that wrestling gets now. But back then, nobody followed, like, especially for 97, nobody followed AAA. Nobody followed like the lower mid card guys or the jobbers back then. There was so much cannon fodder in the 95 Rumble, it's not even funny. So much. 96 too. 96 had some weird ass entrants. They had entrants who only made an appearance in that match and then were never seen again. Go back and watch them. I enjoy watching the Rumbles because they're Rumble matches. But 95 and 96, I know they're the ones Shawn won, but they had terrible rosters. The closest modern day one that had that battle one was 2012. 2012 was so bad as far as roster quality that you had Michael Cole in the damn thing. Mike D, do you think Gronk eventually goes to WWE? I hope not. Don't need to see him anymore. He's retired. Let him do something else. Maybe he'll be on. I don't even think he'd be on as announcer. He'd be too much of a meathead. 42nd Street Matthew. Wrestling with Regret did a video on how every winner of the Andre Battle Royal ended up trending downwards. I can believe that. Cesaro is the only one. Cesaro and Corbin are really the only ones to have any sort of long-term benefits from it. Yes, Matt Hardy is one half of the tag team champions now, but with Jeff's injury, it might not matter. So he might have to go singles again for a while. Maybe he'll come back as Woken Matt Hardy again, just because Jeff's out. But Cesaro didn't win a championship for another almost a year when he won the tag team titles with Tyson Kidd. Corbin didn't win his championship until a year and a half later when he became U.S. champion. He won Money in the Bank too, but let's not talk about that. That was so bad. Jinder says, if they bring back an old school Raw, what old theme and set? I think they should use the Attitude Era set and theme. Just because, like, the whole Raw is War thing would be cool, but I doubt they'll do that. They'll probably do, like, the old school 93 theme, like they always have. Plus, it says something about Nexus when Heath is the last one in the company. Well, I should count Brian. I mean, David Otunga is technically still with the company as, like, he's on, like, the kickoff shows, but as far as in-ring goes, you have Brian, if you want to count him, and Slater. Jinder says if they do an old school SmackDown, they need to bring back the fist. Bring back that giant SmackDown fist. It's the best set they had. This guy, is Braun getting the reversal of the big monster turns into the comedy act? Because these past 2 years he's been the giant comedy act instead of the monster. And most of the time, or instead of the monster most of the time. Um, I have no idea what they're doing with Braun. The fact that his major feud going into WrestleMania last year, his tag team partner was a 10-year-old. This year, um, this year, his main feud was with two guys from a sketch comedy show. So you figure it out. This guy with a $1.99 super chat, appreciate it. What do you think of Bobby Lashley being world champ? I think he could be. I mean, he was with Impact. I think he was like 4-time world champion with them. Um, I think he would be. I think he'd be okay. I think he would have to move to SmackDown to do it. I don't think Raw is too stacked as far as who could be champion there. I think Lashley would get lost in the mix. I think he should go to SmackDown. SmackDown's the land of opportunity. Uh, 42nd Street Matthew. Matt Hardy will always be Matt Hardy. I've always liked Matt more than Jeff anyway. I still do. Mr. Anderson, if WWE wants to keep couples together on the same brands, why is Murphy and Alexa Bliss on different brands? I heard they weren't together anymore. Not to give anybody, not to give anybody hope. Um, Baron Corbin versus Wogan Matt Hardy in a Hardy compound at Lake of Reincarnation. Hey, if they want to bring back Wogan Matt and do more Hardy compound matches, I'll support that. I didn't think I was going to like them, but I did. 42nd Street Matthew. I think Braun's partner at Mania should have been Ellsworth. Would have made sense. Kind of comedic, but I think it would have worked. Yeah, the fact that they won the tag team titles and then had to relinquish them the next day seemed like a complete waste of the Raw tag team titles. And I honestly don't think that they've covered since. I don't think the Raw tag team titles have recovered at all since. And that was a year ago. Over a year ago now. Jinder, if they do old school NXT, what old theme and set? NXT hasn't even been around long enough to do the old theme and set thing. This guy, thank you for answering my question. Well, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm wondering if I should do, as far as the super chats go, I wonder if I should do, like, if there's a total of $20 donated. You get $10, if you send $10 in, you get a spin, but if I get, like, a total of $20, I'll do a spin and do, like, a giveaway or something. That way, like, all the smaller super chats, like, 20 people can donate $1 and I'll give a spin. If it lands on a t-shirt, I'll give it to somebody who donated. Something like that. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. I appreciate any feedback. Milfman 1986. Any chance to see AJ turning heel and forming the club when he goes up against Seth? And do you see a screwjob finish at Money in the Bank with Seth and AJ? Honestly, I feel like if they do anything screwy with him, it will involve the Money in the Bank briefcase. But you need somebody who, as a male, who will actually cash in the briefcase and win. The last solid cash in for the men's Money in the Bank briefcase that meant anything was Seth's at WrestleMania 31. Since then, you had Sheamus cash in. Nobody really remembers that. You had Ambrose cash in the same night. You had Corbin's disaster of a run, and then you had Strowman somehow outdo that by cashing in his Money in the Bank and having a no contest in Hell in a Cell. You need somebody to win the briefcase and cash it in and like make a star out of that guy. Because the last 2 years, the men's Money in the Bank briefcase has meant absolutely nothing. Really, in the last 3 years, because Ambrose only had it for an hour, if that. Chris Cahill, who was the first real international star in WWE? Would you consider Bret Hart? He was Canadian. He was a huge star in WWE for years. This guy. So Vince loves blondes. That's why he keeps Alexa and mainly Charlotte super strong. Well, Alexa hasn't even been in the ring lately. I love Alexa Bliss, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it seems mostly for Charlotte. And don't sleep on Lacey Evans either. She could pull something special out with Becky. We'll just have to wait and see. Domestic Butler, who's buried more people, Triple H or Cena? Probably Cena. Honestly, I think Triple H has made more people, especially in recent years. Chris Cahill, I'll say the only heel that would cash in on that night is Drew. Probably. Um, yeah, because Drew would be a believable cash in. He could cash in, hit the Claymore, and become champion. I don't know who he did it on, but Milfman 1986. When did Sheamus win Money in the Bank? 2015. He won Money in the Bank and cashed it in on Roman Reigns after the tournament at Survivor Series that same year. Jamar Schofield, what about the women's Money in the Bank? If Sasha comes back, I want her to win it. I could say she's Miss Money in the Banks. This guy, I love her too. I love Alexa Bliss, and Lacey is awesome. I don't know how people are sleeping on her. Well, Lacey has only had, what, one match on Raw? The match against Natalia? You can't expect people to get behind a character when they don't compete. And she's only had two main roster matches that I'm aware. The Rumble and match against Natalia. And now she's in her third main roster match getting a women's championship shot. I mean, I didn't get to see a whole lot of Lacey Evans in NXT, but at the same time, I don't know. I think title shots would be better off with other people. I don't even know who else you have on Raw, honestly. Okay, I think I'm caught up with the chat. Yep, I'm caught up with the chat. So I'm going to drink some water, because that's exciting. Checking my phone. Hey, flash sales on WWE Champions. Cool. I don't have any money. I'm Poe. Chris Cahill says, I like Lacey's character. It's something different. It is different. It is different than just the classic, hey, I'm a wrestler. It goes back to the whole character development. And it's something that a lot of these people on the main roster can realize, because a lot of the people in WWE now don't really have characters. They're just themselves, which is good. I mean, it's nice to get a sense of realism, but at the same time, we love the over-the-top characters. So don't deny us of that. Whoa! Here we go! Yes! All right, Don Wooding, $20. Hello, Mr. Cherry. How's it going, young sir? So what's your feeling about Taker and Angle being pulled by WWE at this year's StarCast 2, and any more news on Season 2 to report, sir? No news on Season 7 of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. I have to talk with Rift about that. We've been all over the place. But Don, your $20 actually gets you 2 spins, because I was doing the half price spins gimmick. So I appreciate that. Finally, I get some spins. All right, here we go. So, if I want to explain this to you. If it lands on bankrupt on your second spin, that means you get nothing. But there's only the one spot right here. There's only the one spot for the bankrupt out of 24. So hopefully it doesn't hit bankrupt. Hopefully you get something good, and hopefully I can give away a shirt on this stream. So here we go. Spin number 1 of 2. Road story. Okay, I'll tell you a story from my time on the Indies. That's spin number 1. Now let's see if you get to keep that with your second spin. And an entrance. Okay, Don, you get to tell me which entrance you want me to do, and I'll do that. So first of all, as you think of which one you want, I will do a road story for you. Okay, so one time I was setting up at an indie show I was working. I was setting up the curtain because we always had to set up the ring. We had to set up the curtain before every show because it was in a pavilion. Um, yeah, it was in a pavilion, so we always had to like set up the ring, tear it down, walk it down steps. You have to realize, guys, those rings are freaking heavy. Like the individual parts to set up the ring are really freaking heavy. Um, so we were setting up the ring. That was all fine. Setting up the curtain took a little while. You know, had to zip tie everything and it to hold it together. I actually had you're gonna pass on the entrance. Okay, all right. Well, there you go. I'll finish the story though. Uh, I will say that I was setting up the entrance ramp or entrance way rather, and as I was setting it up, I had my hands up in the air, zip tie something, and one of the wrestlers peeks his head through the curtain. And I know this guy. His name was Ryan. I know this guy, and he's kind of a douche. So I saw the look on his face with my hands in the air and knowing that I was in a compromising position. So I look at him as like, don't do it. Please don't do it. And next thing I know, he punches me right in the nuts. So I double over, still trying to hold the entranceway together because we're still putting it up. And he runs around the frickin' ring, going like, bag tag, bag tag. I just got Greg Cherry, punched him right in the nuts. And of course, my wife, girlfriend at the time, was there, and she thought it was funny. I did not. Um, but yeah, that was a fun indie story. First time I got to do one. All right, so hope you enjoyed that story. Appreciate the support, Dawn. I don't know why I'm having so many skip frame issues though. Don't know why. Okay. Anyway, so I appreciate the dedication. Appreciate the